Okay. Are we live? We live, we live, we live. Let's check if we're live. Are we live? Yes, we are. Okay, good. All right. I want to talk about something that I really like. This is kind of the new face of coding, I think, going forward. Whereas before, you would be like, the computer's actually like crashing here. You spend most of your time in here, yeah? Coding, yeah? This is what I grew up with. This is what I learned. This is what I studied. I like the colors, but really, these days, I write this. The only way to shortcut the coding process is to develop a very clear communication path with, let's say, GPT codecs. And what I've learned is that the number one key, really, is to synchronize your intent with the AI. I think there's two factors involved. One, you have to be very clear about what you want to be made. No fuzziness. Not some generic app that does X or Y. That's not going to cut it. You have to visualize how it's being used and how it will be used and how people interact with it down to the smallest detail, actually. And if you can do that and you're confident that that's good, that's how it's going to work, then from that you derive what's needed to make that work, the data structures and all that, the database operations and all that. Then you can work towards making that come true. Now before, you would not, without this tool, you would basically you're spending all your time here. You would have your intent and you would write your intent in code. Now that's if you're a one-man shop, right? If you're not a one-man shop, if you're the software director, lead director, now you don't write the code. You got the code monkeys, the jargon for that, doing that for you. And my preference for coding solo is that, well, you don't feel guilty when you say, oh wait, that thing we just did, fuck that shit. It was the wrong idea, undo it. You know, the code monkey will be like, well, they don't care because they're getting paid regardless. But then it becomes costly to make mistakes, right? You can't really play around. Well, now you can a little bit because your code monkey has been replaced by this guy right here who's never going to be tired, and for the base model only costs 3,000 yen a month, which I think is an absolute steal, okay? It's a steal. And when you type something in here, it's a bit restricted in length. You get a little box, right? When you get further and further and further into the app, at least now one of these queries becomes as long as this. Okay? So it's quite long. Now, to be honest, this kind of query, you get from one little thing I would say, my query is basically look at this and tell me what you think. Don't even implement, just wham. Did it freeze? Oh my, it keeps freezing. I don't know why it keeps freezing. I think my computer's just crashing, but basically look at that. This is how long a single query. So what I'm trying to get to you is this. You say, this is what I want. The AI unpacks it. And unfortunately on my current GPT Codex plan, it's not enough. So it's holding what needs to be done and done the right way in the GPT memory. And unfortunately, if you don't pay for the higher plans, what was it called? The parameter count? There's some metric that measures the complexity or the size of the model you're allowed to use. And the one I'm using right now is not big enough. for this query. Then you can go one step up and go for the big plan, 30,000 yen a month. That's a lot of money. Or you break it down. You don't need to do everything in one shot. But you see, that's where the development with the AI, you focus less on the how. No, that isn't true. You focus less on the code and you can focus more on what you want to see happen. It's a godsend, right? So really it is like having junior software devs who just never tire and don't require payments, really. And the thing is, they're even better. Well, yeah, they're like software devs basically. They're basically the guy who knows what solutions are out there and how to code them. That's been encapsulated in AI. What hasn't been encapsulated is the project manager, the guy who drives the project forward, saying, "Well, this is what we should go for next to make the product a reality." These people are not yet replaceable. They're leveraged right now. You know, they got leverage because now they got this tool. So my strategy here is when I get this, I take this and I copy paste it, the whole thing. You know, I read. So one might think it goes faster, but do you know how much my brain hurts after reading all this shit? It's not easy. I think some might think like, is this easier to read? But when you get down to it, this is better because you can be fuzzy. The idea of AI is that you can be fuzzy on it. So like with code, you're not even allowed to make one little word mistake. Even one punctuation mistake makes the thing barf. But when you write code, you're able to write in free-form language, which I find that to be like way better because essentially you are now almost talking to someone in what you want as opposed to coding. It's a massive difference. And it's a speed difference. So to implement these goals would be a huge, the combination of managing the goals and holding that in your head and then writing the code for it is quite the challenge. Now it's like I'm remodeling my own brain to forget that technique and rely on the AI to code. In my mind, is there a danger in that? I think absolutely not, because you are also relying, when you code, it translates to assembly code anyway. It's almost like complaining about our dependence on a compiler. That's silly. Like, it's just gone, the abstraction level has gone like one level up again. So like from assembly to C to agentic coding, it's just different. This is how it looks. It's not very glorious. I do wonder though, I honestly do wonder whether there's a better way to do it. Like there might be a better way to do all this, you know? But so far, like, I'm wondering if there's a way to get like color coding or something in here like this. Because like, there's different ways of writing stuff, right? And like, I think if the more like you are on the same page or the same language as the AI, the better. And then just by thinking it over, you realize, oh, this is what I need. Like there's a strong element of self-discovery on what you thought you wanted and what actually you need. And it's quite interesting because you're like navigating this weird space, this weird like a wave, sort of like, you know, when people are surfing, there's a wave. It's really delicate. If you stray from it, you fall or you whatever, right? But if you write it, you're able to combine what you're seeing in your head with what the AI is suggesting, and you come out with like these weird branches of extensions. I can't even explain it, but like it's fascinating that I honestly believe it results in better software especially if you are driven to see something come true, come to light, for example. If you are clear about your intent, and you got to divide into phases. This is phase 4. I have like phase 1, 2, and 3. You know what I mean? Like, this is phase 2. It's phase 4, actually. This is phase 3. I was too lazy, you know? Like, it evolves as you're coding it, and you realize, oh shit, I need that too, and I need that too, and I need that too. It just keeps evolving, and it's like almost wrapping trying to contain the chaos and trying to shove it into order. That's the overall feeling, and that's kind of the way I think it's gonna be moving forward. Just have to master. It's more and more. I get up in the morning and I write. Honestly, I write, AI, this is what I'm going to code today. Please do this. It's the way going forward, I think.